how to go in the movie Shrek or Donkey. You cut me deep, Shrek. That's cold blooded. But okay, touche. I'll take it. I hear you. What's next?
Our last topic, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's our last topic for the night,
Right.
and
This
it's
is Wednesday.
It's
You know?
Wednesday, so
You guys know this is Wednesday, so we tend to use our final segment to tend to kind of go outside of the typical HBCU sports landscape, and we tend to talk about maybe current events that impact us all, or we may have a very silly subject such as how we'd like to cook our steaks and so forth. But given where we are right now in the political season, with the elections just right around the corner, we're going to talk about this thing here. And Kendrick, this is your baby, so I'll let you continue. My bad. I just wanted to set people up who may not aware of what we do on this show every Wednesday.
that's cool. Yeah. So the off topic tonight is this gentleman right here, former President Barack Obama. Recently he appeared in Pittsburgh at a campaign headquarters for the Harris Walsh campaign, and he expressed how he was disappointed to hear that a lot of black men were not exactly enthusiastic about supporting current Vice President Kamala Harris in her bid for the White House. And the former president expressed himself with these comments right here.
And excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time.
Yeah, so that's former President Barack Obama calling out all the brothers because he was upset that they weren't getting behind Kamala Harris for president. And Kamala Harris was asked yesterday on the town hall hosted by Charlamagne the God, Breakfast Club fame. And God's getting laughing, man.
No, I'm laughing because Chris rolled his eyes. That's what I was saying.
Oh yeah, he's not too cool with Charlamagne the God, but like Charlamagne,
You'll find out why in a minute.
Asked him, asked Kamala Harris, no, what's up with Obama calling out the guys? Like, when are y'all gonna call out, these other groups who don't support you in large numbers either? So this is that exchange right here. Yeah, so those were the vice president's comments on the matter. I know Chris is like a bull in the bullpen, man. He's ready to tear into this topic right here. So I'm gonna let him go first. It gets reactions to not only the online conversation surrounding this particular issue, but what Obama said and what Kamala Harris said as well. Go for it, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Before you start, let me just say this, guys. For those of you who are watching, man, take the time and engage with us. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this particular conversation. Also, take a moment and subscribe to the channel and make sure that you also join and become a member, level 1, level 2, and level 3 supporter by joining and just support the channel, man. But we're doing what we can to continue to provide you with great content, and we just ask that you continue to support the channel. But most importantly, feel free to engage in what we're about to discuss here, because this is very, very important. So with that said, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Accountability, responsibility. Those are two words that seem to be lost on a scant few in this generation. when you talk, when people, I've seen this on Twitter for the last 5 business days, and it is grinding my gears to no end that President Obama was scolding and finger wagging and lecturing. Do y'all not see what is going on here? Do you not see what is at stake? That is what I'm asking y'all. I want you to think about it. Do you not understand? Like, you want to hold Kamala Harris accountable for false information, misinformation about her time as Attorney General in California. People said she locked brothers up for weed when the actual program that she was in charge of was sexual offenses. So if y'all yelling about free my boy and your boy is on here touching on little kids, then what does that say about you? You want to hold Kamala Harris accountable for whatever deficiencies you think Joe Biden may have as president, but he has not had a full House of Representatives. He has not had a full. He has not had a Senate majority. He had a Senate. I take it back. He did have a House of Representatives for a little while, but he hasn't had a Senate majority in his time as president. So we need to bring back Schoolhouse Rock, apparently, so everybody can understand how a bill gets passed. You have to start with Congress, then you have to go to the Senate. Then those 2 legislative bodies have to pass that, and then if they both pass it, then Joe Biden can sign it into a law. That's how this works, and that's how Kamala Harris would work as president. And I find it very discouraging that this woman had to come out here and make a black plan for black dudes who are chronically online, just attacking women every chance they get. Like, the biggest thing on social media that I've seen this week is that, where is child support amnesty? And don't you dudes realize that it takes 2 to make kids? There are no Virgin Marys in this world. I mean, there was one Virgin Mary, and she carried that cross. What was it, 2,000-3,000 years ago? I don't know. I'm not a biblical scholar, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But this is embarrassing. This line of questioning for Kamala Harris, when you guys know that her opponent is a racist, a Nazi, a fascist who has said that police officers will be able to act with immunity and impunity. That means that all 4 of us brothers, it don't matter. I mean, Kim Rashad could be walking down the street in Dallas, Texas. Kendrick Marshall could be walking down the street in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jared Hoffman could be walking down the street in PG County, Maryland. Chris Stevens could be walking down the street in Wilmington, Delaware. Some cop feels like we fit the description, and because we are black, we more often than not fit the description. They can start beating the crap out of us, and we can't sue them or press charges against them for nothing because the president of the United States said, oh, it's okay to rough them up a little bit. That's what you guys are absolutely saying is okay when you start complaining about Kamala Harris is this, she's that, she's not all black, she's got a white husband. Aren't you the same brothers that call yourself milkmen? Aren't you the same dudes that, idolize passport bros who go to these other countries to meet women who absolutely are not interested in you dudes, but you force yourselves on them anyway? Aren't you the same dudes who literally just have negative words for every single black woman in any single space in your lives? Which is embarrassing because we all 4 of us on this panel came from a black woman. All 4, well, Ken and Kendrick are the lucky ones that are married. They've partnered with black women. I'm sure Jared would like to do so, and I would like to do so. I mean, we're gonna get there. Change is gonna come to America. But
Jasmine Crockett, you watching? That's your guy right there.
Oh, shout out to Chris McCoy in the chat. Hey, brother, we might have to go. Play some one-on-one one of these days. Go get some shots. Our first 1 to 10 gets Jasmine Crockett's hand in marriage. But yes, back to the point. This is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing. This is a point in in the world history. Forget American history, the world history. Because if you don't think that Trump's mouth is going to get us in wars that we're not well equipped to fight, and when they bring back the draft, they're not drafting Timmy, they're not drafting Bryson, they're not drafting Jim Bob, they're drafting Jaleel, they're drafting Malik, they're drafting Marcus, they're drafting Taiwan. They're sending our kids over there to die. They're not sending the well-to-do white kids over there to die. So I want y'all to be really smart and use your common. I mean, I hate to quote that dude because he's right where he belongs in jail, R. Kelly, but use your common sense, please. There is nothing about Donald Trump that whatever cult-like following he has that black people need to follow. Kamala Harris is trying to save this country from itself. And if you brothers can't get your heads out of your behinds and stop this woman-hating foolishness, y'all are following the words of a dude who died with a Latina woman in his lap. You dudes are following this Kevin Samuels dude from, like he was Marcus Garvey with the YouTube channel. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, just please stop being stupid. The fate of the world depends on it. And I'm done.
This is a big campaign slogan. Stop being stupid. I can agree with that. Kim Rashad, you the elder statesman of the group. You voted in many elections, in many politics, and you live in Texas where it's not blue. Your thoughts on this?
Man, I'm gonna just keep this simple. You guys have heard me say this before, man. And I'm dead serious on this. Well, let me start by saying this. For the life of me, I don't understand how some of these brothers can call themselves being offended by what Barack Obama said about them.
Thank you.
How dare you have? And then and then on top of that, you got cats out here. Stephen A. Smith was one of them recently. I think he had some kind of opinion in which basically he too was pushing back on what Barack Obama was saying. And when the fact of the matter is, and I think the larger part of his argument was that, many brothers who may not necessarily feel the need to vote for Kamala Harris may not necessarily be doing so because their so-called view may be because they have a fundamental disagreement with her with respect to policy. I think the larger point Barack Obama was saying is that may be fine, and Stephen A. Smith's point was it wasn't about misogyny, and that it may very well be just a philosophical disagreement. Which, okay, I get, that's fine, but to Barack Obama's larger point was, despite all of that, how could you possibly find justification in voting for a man who has shown you, told you who he is and what he's going to do about you, to you, and yet you think it's okay because of some, excuse the expression, bullshit philosophical disagreement or problem that you got with Kamala Harris? That's the point in all of this. Exactly right. You were so great point, Stephen Campbell. You guys were so pissed off or bothered by the fact that Barack Obama took the time to say something. You didn't even really hear what he was trying to tell you. And that's part of the problem where, I just put it like this. Me and Chris talked about this earlier. It's unfortunate that Kamala Harris has to go to places like the Shade Room and to Charlamagne the God. You know why? You know why? Because some of you are too fucking dumb to know better.
Hello.
Excuse the expression. I hate this, but this is really serious here because I don't think some of you really understand just how important this election is and where we are right now. Some of you brothers are too damn ignorant. You know all of the BS that's going on social media. And some of you try to impress us with your intelligent ignorance about politics, and it becomes obvious when you speak. You don't know a goddamn thing. That's what makes this so difficult. And it's unfortunate that Kamala Harris has to go to the Shade Room. Now, I understand, put it like this. There's a difference between youngsters. Some of us have to kind of come into our own, but I'm talking about grown ass brothers. I'm about to say something else. My age, who I have had conversations with, who show you and display they have no clue about this process, asking BS questions. Well, what have the Democrats done for us? They're taking our votes for granted, and and we're just gonna just give them their, what have they done for us? Well, damn it, what have the Republicans done for you? What have they displayed for you? And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to vote. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm not. But at some point, damn it, common sense has to come into play. And I'm gonna just simply, and I've told you guys this, and I'm gonna end it by saying this. Because of where we are right now, with the options that we have, whether it be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, I'm telling you now, policy doesn't mean crap to me at this point. I simply don't want Donald Trump to be my damn president. I don't care what the damn policy is. He's shown me enough to know I don't want that asshole in my damn in the damn White House representing me. Period. Forget the pot. This is, you know what? This is one of those times when you really don't really necessarily need to focus on the policy. All you got to do is just look at the man. Just look at him. It's a stark difference between the two. You want your president to be smart. You want your president to have a clue. There is no such thing as a perfect candidate. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't agree with every single thing Kamala Harris says or her policy. I don't. But I know damn well I don't want Donald Trump to be my president. I've seen enough of him. Do you really want a man in the White House who tells you he likes to grab women by the pussy? He said that. And some of you think that's okay. Or at the very least, you just ignore it because of some BS, philosophical BS that you have against Kamala Harris, whether it be policy or not. I'm done.
Yeah, Ken.
Let's not forget that, Luis. We can trust Kamala Harris to not having continence issues. Also, let's not forget that.
I just realized what you said. Exactly. So,
yeah, this is a guy who, when he was president during the eclipse, everybody was told, "Don't look in the sun with your naked eye." The first thing he did was look in the sun with naked eye.
It's so obvious that this dude is not fit, man. He's not fit to be chief pooper scooper of the Thanksgiving Day parade. No, he can't scoop the poop up after the horses. There's nothing about Donald Trump that has any redeeming quality. Nothing.
Yeah, like somebody on social media asked this question of like, why are black men attracted to Donald Trump in terms of like wanting to support him? And the only rational thing I could come up with was that Donald Trump represents what everybody has always promoted as what a powerful man should look like. Not like physically look like, but like he has this power, he's wealthy, he has influence, and a lot of men want to be like that. And so in a way, Donald Trump kind of represents that in all the ways Donald Trump does, whether you like it or not, but that's what he represents. And before he became president, we all know like Donald Trump was heavily supported by black rappers. Mm-hmm. We all know the crew who supported him. And those rappers have a window to our communities and they are influential in our communities. So if they cool with Donald Trump, then everybody else gonna be cool with Donald Trump too. When he became president, I think the emperor kind of like lost his clothes in that when he kind of got to see like this dude is stupid, number one, and number two, doesn't know what the hell he's talking about half the time. And so like, how could anybody support him? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't get it. Like, there is no. It says a whole lot more about the country than it really does Donald Trump. That we're 3 weeks away from an election, and it's a toss-up now in terms of like who's going to win. If you look at polling, if you look at like talk to analysts who study this stuff, like they even said like any other candidate in any other year who was not Donald Trump would not even be remotely close to the White House, because we know he's been indicted, he's been arrested, his mugshot is out there. It's happened within the last 8 months of the year, and yet the race for president is a toss-up between an accomplished Black woman who's done many great things for her people and a convicted felon. That speaks to the country and how racist it is, how sexist it is,
how stupid it is.
Yeah, it's very much stupid. Never underestimate the stupidity of the American people. I always say that.
Whew, yes.
And let me add this. Excuse
me.
But
let me say one thing before you go, Jared.
Okay, cool.
But I'm gonna empathize with some African American men on this particular issue we're talking about what Obama said in their room in Pittsburgh last week. I do understand to some degree why there will be pushback against not what he said, but the decision for him to say it in the first place, because the rebuttal to what he said is like, okay, like you're talking to Black men, despite the fact that Black people as a whole and a large percentage of Black men do support the Democrats, and they do support Democrat candidates, and they also, Black men in particular, they supported Hillary Clinton for president. So for Obama to say, well, they don't want to see a woman president, well, according to polling, extra polling, that's not true. Even Stacey Abrams ran for governor of Georgia in 2022, 84% of Black men voted for her. So to say that Black men don't want to see Black women in position of power is in politics is largely untrue. But what I do think that can be stated is that a lot of Black men don't want to be lumped in with like everybody else. Like you're like us four here, and many of you listening, watching us, we're not running a situation where we're talking bad against Kamala Harris to be president. We're not saying she's not really Black. We're not saying she's like a bunch of Black men. But when that statement from the nation's first Black president comes out talking to Black men, all the headlines on the news and on the internet are going to say, President Obama chides Black men. Not talking about certain Black men. They're talking about all of us. And I think it's fair to say, hey, like, okay, you may be right in what you're saying, but like, what are you really telling the country about us as a gender and a race in particular by making those comments to us and not to the 50% or 60% of white men who support Trump, or all the white men who supported Trump, or Hispanics who support Trump? Because the Democrats, they have a built-in advantage, at least from Black people, to have at least between 80 and 90% support. And to continually go out, as some may perceive it, to chide Black people for not being 100% behind candidates or a party is, to a lot of Black men, maybe counterproductive. They're like, okay, we've been supporting you for all this time. Like, it may be not 100%, it may not be 90%, it's 80%, but like, y'all getting on us because we're at 79% and not 90% like Black women are. And I think from that standpoint, that may be a little bit unfair for President Obama and others to do that. But I will say largely, though, yeah, we cannot afford to have Donald Trump as president, no matter how we feel about what President Obama said in Pittsburgh, or what some of Kamala Harris's policies may or may not be that we may or may not agree with. But yeah, like, that's what I got to say. It's a lot of nuance to this. And so I think like we should all be responsible enough as citizens and as voters to distinguish between a felon and someone who's not a felon for president. Jared, go ahead.
I think the biggest takeaway that we have seen since the 2016 election is, and I'm lumping everybody in, we as an American people are not well informed. No. What I mean by that is no one does their research. Everyone speaks without knowing what the hell they're talking about.
They do their own research, Jared.
Say that again?
They do their own research on YouTube University. That's where they get their research from.
Yeah, their own research is, trust me, bro. That's their research. Trust me. You know what I do if I don't know something? I ask a question or I look it up. I don't speak without knowing what I'm talking about. You know what that's called? Willful ignorance. That is willful ignorance. Knowing you don't know what you're talking about and speaking as if what you're saying is facts. What everybody keeps talking about the money that Trump gave to HBCUs. Because you saw an article on the internet and look no further. You saw one article and didn't see any other articles that corroborated it. And none of y'all can tell me anything else that publication has talked about other than that one article that you keep referencing. But we want to fixate on stuff that don't matter, like what Kamala Harris's ethnicity is. Who cares?
Thank you.
Who cares? We want to fixate on her having a white husband. Who cares? Do you know how normalized interracial marriages are? Who cares? So because she's married to a white man, that means she don't love black people enough? And we're talking about a person who went to an HBCU and is a member of the Divine Nine.
Thank you.
But we want to go with the hot take that's going to get all the social media likes. We want to go with the hot take video that's going to get all the clicks. That's all we care about. We don't care about being well informed. We don't care about educating the youth about why it is important to know about the presidential candidates' policies. We don't want to educate people about local government. We don't want to educate people on state government. We don't want to educate people on national government. We don't want to educate people on what the Supreme Court is. We don't want to educate people on the jobs of the Senate, of the jobs of the House of Representatives. We don't want to educate people anymore. We just want to get the salacious clicks. That's all we want to do. We want to get our hot takes off. That's all we want to do. We want to get famous for no reason. Being famous has lost all its meaning because all it is people making the most outrageous video and it's spread across your timeline. That's all it is. You have no true impact on what is happening in the world. But when there's people who are actually trying to make an impact, we want to fixate on stuff like, oh, they're in an interracial marriage. How could I ever vote for them? Correct me if I'm wrong, but what was Donald Trump's political history before he became president in 2016? Did he serve on the House of Representatives? Was he in the Senate? Was that man even a governor? So what were his qualifications? Oh, but Kamala Harris is a woman, so she can't be president. And yeah, I'm so tired of people saying, she ain't implement no policies as a vice president. Vice presidents don't implement policies.
Michael Strahan actually asked that question.
They don't? They don't?
Even me, as a novice of political knowledge, knows that the vice president does not implement policies. Stop saying that.
Someone said he wasn't even a dog catcher.
He wasn't even pooper scooper at the parade, according to Chris Stevens.
So it's like people keep speaking without knowing what they are talking about. People don't know what the duties of a president is, don't know what the duties of a vice president is, don't know what the Senate does, doesn't know what the House of Representatives of. They seen Schoolhouse of Rock, or whatever it is. What is it called?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. They saw that and didn't pay nan attention to it. All they saw was I'm just a Bill sitting on Capitol Hill and was like, what's up, Bill? And then kept moving. And they don't know what a bill is. They don't even know what a bill is.
Not no checks and balances, how Congress works, how the Senate works, nothing.
They don't know nothing about how any of that works. They don't know how the criminal justice system works. I know that's different from political, but they don't know anything about anything. They don't you don't understand that at the local level, it starts at the local level. You've never even voted at your local election. You couldn't tell me who your congressperson was. You couldn't even tell me the governor of your state. But you talking about this woman isn't fit to be president. Never mind the fact that she has a way more extensive history in politics than Trump does and is pinky. But common sense. I'm begging people to get some common sense. Common sense is if you don't know something, ask. The common sense is if you don't know something, look it up. And don't just look at one source and think that that's the truth. Because not every news organization is honest. I'm sorry, as a news person, I got to say it. Not everybody is honest. There's people that have agendas. So you have to be cautious about the information that you are receiving. And then when you receive that information, you speak it as fact and not even fact checking it. This is a presidential candidate who said he didn't want fact checking for his speeches.
He sure did.
He doesn't want fact checking for debates. Why do you think that is? And his vice president said the same thing too. This is a man who, during the presidential debate, saying they're eating the dogs and had no proof. Oh,
And
but
then
it's
when they
funny.
reported
So
against
he's
him,
going
he
to share
said-
it on social media. Come on, man. I'm begging people to have a mind of their own. Have a mind of your own. Do your own research. Ask your own questions. Do the things that a diligent person should do. Not like an idiot. That's it.
Yeah, I will say that, like you mentioned the presidential debate when you mentioned that the Haitians in Ohio were eating the dogs, and then David Muir was like, "We talked to the city officials and they said it wasn't true." And Donald Trump goes, "But I saw it on TV."
But that's who you want as president. Somebody who saw something on TV and said, "Oh, that's facts."
Yeah. Someone said that is true. Ms. Jackson, yeah. Now they said that they eat more than just dogs now. It's crazy, man. It is.
Yeah, like I registered to vote on Friday for North Carolina because they moved here. Had to change from Oklahoma to here. Thank God I'm out of Oklahoma, because you want to talk about living in delusion. Oklahoma is that place where in 2008 and 2012, the entire state literally voted for the Republican candidate for president. Like all 100 counties voted for the Republican. Not one county, Oklahoma, voted for Barack Obama in 8 years. Yeah, so yeah, like if you can use